Why would it matter? What should you do? What would be the objections to why you can't? Right? And then what should be your heartbeat in prayer in planning a rite of passage? Because my theory, just one man here. My theory is
one awesome man.
If you have a child, you should be praying and thinking and planning for what that graduation from being a child to being an adult looks like.
Yeah.
And just like we don't just have like, oh, hey, there's a king in England, you know? Hey, king. Like there's a whole thing, man. They planned and planned and planned. He had a kneel. There was a crown. There was an orb. There were horses. There was what's the phrase? Pomp and circumstance. Okay. That was acknowledging the intensity of this transition. So my theory is in America, we are not great at transitioning kids to be adults.
Yeah.
Hot take? Perhaps.
Maybe, but I think you're correct.
Well, and if you take a little trip around the world, okay, and this, by the way, was something we had been thinking about, praying about. I think both of us felt like, you know, our parents didn't really, not because they were bad, but because I don't think they were given those tools either. Mm-hmm. You know, I think my dad really came around especially right before we got married, I'm trying to be intentional about maybe teaching me about marriage. And then even my first date, I remember he told me, hey, before you take anybody on a date, pray for them. Pray before the date begins. But it was
probably more like when the occasion arose that there would be like words of wisdom, but it wasn't like specifically, hey, you're a man now. It wasn't necessarily that. Like, I feel like, for example, when I started my period, my parents gave me a promise ring and said like, so I think that kind of thing was their attempt to,
which is huge,
which is beautiful. Yeah.
Huge. And I don't think this is magic bullet. I think everything I just mentioned should be a part of it.
Totally. It's not just
preparing
one
them
thing.
for a first date, preparing for marriage, preparing for, you know, life as a sexually mature young woman. Mm-hmm. But I'm saying as far as just something that would say like, hey, I never have to doubt or wonder. I know when I was told, hey, you're beginning this process of entering the adult tribe.
Yeah.
Okay. So we had kind of been thinking about that, you know, Livy's turning 13, you know, heading towards starting 8th grade. And we were both just kind of like, there needs to be something. And I started feeling some energy. And when I feel that, I need to kind of yank on that thread some. So I start talking to people. I start researching. I come across this video on YouTube from TED, the TED Talks. This was a TEDx event. The title of the talk is An Exploration of Coming of Age Rituals in a Modern Era by Ron Fritz. This guy, he goes around the world, Jennie. He gets on an airplane in the internet and goes around the world and explores what in different cultures someone goes through to become a man or a woman. I've got a list of some of them that he mentions. He references the bungee jumping in the jungle of this one unique tribe where they have to make vines into bungee cords and the kids jump off this tower. And when they get to the end of this jump, they're an adult. And that adrenaline attached to that, the process of their dad and mom helping them make the vine, like that whole thing. He said most of them survive it. And that's good.
Oh, gosh. If you survive it, you are a man.
If the vines hold, you shall be a warrior. He also references this other group of people that they bring the kid out to the center of town and they whip them across the back over and over again. And that's like that lashing is the process of becoming like an adult. Another tribe where they have to put their hand into a glove full of the most painful, stinging ants on earth, known as bullet ants. And apparently it like takes you to a psychotic place of pain that you can't even fathom. But here's the crazy thing. And I don't recommend any of that. That's abuse. But think about it. When that boy walks around town and he's got permanent welts all over his back of his hand, guess what he sees in every other man in town? The same welts.
Whoa.
So he's been initiated into.
Those welts stay with him their whole life?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And some people die from the bullet ants.
Oh.
But the marks from them is a badge now.
Oh.
He's been jumped into a gang. And why are gangs so popular? Especially, they thrive in areas where there tends to be single parent homes, people are craving for something
Belonging.
To say you belong to something bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
You have to do, if you do this, you can be this.
Yeah.
We crave that.
Yeah.
So my point is, and the point of this TED video is, if that doesn't exist, nature abhors a vacuum. There's going to be a quest or a search for something else, right?
Right.